diamonds. Government most probably pocket about 55 of it. Actually, 65. So it is, when we start to look at any potential political risk for the government wanting the asset, that is exceptionally low. The Mining Act in Botswana is, once they've actually issued the mining license, they can actually ask for equity only when you renew, and our renewal is past the bottom of the pit. And if they wanted a part of the project, they would actually have to buy into it. So to answer political risk, with 50 years of independence this year, the same political party has been in power since independence in '66. They had elections last year, same party won again by about a 72% majority. There is growing support for the opposition. So I asked our guys in country, so what are the difference in the opposition's policies? No, it's exactly the same. It's just different people. Botswana has a lower political rating than Canada. Botswana is number 7, Canada is number 8. So in terms of stable countries in Africa where you want to work, Botswana is it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Discussing M&A activity, what's your sort of overall strategy there? Because every other mine that you would acquire will be sort of inferior compared to your current asset.
And it is, and to find something which is exactly the same as us, which doesn't dilute what we're actually being able to produce, is, I'd say, a little bit more than difficult. So there are mines out there that will produce sort of very good returns. So our return is on average, look at Glen Hill, not about 65%. And that's our margin. In the Bain report, which I encourage you to go and download and just have a look at the graphics, the average rough producer only has a margin of 23 to 24%. And I was quite surprised about that because I thought it would be sort of most very closer to the 40%. So you're absolutely right. Anything which we actually would acquire would actually decrease the value of our assets, especially if we went out and we did an acquisition through equity. If we were going to issue shares, all the shareholders that we would have would definitely be disadvantaged. So it's actually a question I've been asking Glenn a couple of times. With the understanding we have of the resource, with the cash which we have, the building cash position, the inventory which we have, we could most probably support a significant debt ratio based on what we can actually, already what we've got. So if we were looking at acquisitions, we would most probably look to leverage a significant portion of it, not through issuing paper, to protect the value of the shareholders. So when we look at M&A activity, it is still a very, very shallow pool. If we look at the number of producers, the new projects which come in line, those people that need money, a lot of people went out and raised US dollars, and the US dollar strengthened against their functional currencies. So a lot of people are sitting with a lot more money for the development of their projects, which does make M&A activity a lot more difficult. But with us now, with the time now being sort of off the books, with the exploration which we've got, I think our focus will be definitely on not just Southern Africa. And when people ask, what are you going to do with your cash? In Southern Africa, $120+ million is a large amount of money. If you have to go to Canada, it's 3 months worth of operating cost. The cost of operating in the northern climate is much, much more expensive. And I don't believe that you'd actually have to find a project which has very, very good margins. Because a project in Southern Africa, and sort of the major found this out very, very sort of quickly, cannot support the costs of running mines in sort of other jurisdictions. So you would actually have to look at them as completely separate cases. But one thing that sort of I will say now is we're not going to waste the money. Only if there's a mechanism for doing the transaction and it's value accretive to our current shareholders will we actually look at M&A activity.
So share repurchases.
Didn't hear that again. No. It's been a topic which has been discussed extensively at the board. It's kind of split down the middle in terms of support, mainly based on, and it is. It's sort of, you're right. When we look at if there's nothing else to invest in yourself, especially if you have the asset which we have. Great. Thank you very much for coming.